let me know if this has happened to you. You just finished working, you ate dinner, and now it is 8 p.m. and you're sitting on your couch or on your bed and you're relaxing. But all of a sudden, some voice in the back of your head asks you, what are you doing with your life? You scroll on Instagram and see that your high school classmate just got married the other day. Or someone just bought their house for the first time. And those feelings of guilt, shame, inadequacy, inferiority just all start creeping into your mind. So what was supposed to be a relaxing evening after a long day of work, you still feel like you haven't done anything. So why does this situation feel so specific? It's because it happened to me the other day. I was on my mindless scroll on social media and I ended up coming across a bunch of people who have been doing all these amazing things who I haven't heard from in years. And it's easy to see and think, wow, these guys have done so much in the past few years. Like, what have I done? Like, this person has more money than me. This person has a beautiful girlfriend that I would never be able to get. So if you're watching this video, chances are you feel this way too. Like, you feel like you're behind your peers and you're falling back on the race of life. Well, in today's video, I wanted to remind you of a few things that I had to remind myself when I felt this way. Number one is that happiness is a choice. I've pictured my definition of success to include a lavish lifestyle with beautiful people on a beautiful island where everything was great and no problems existed in the world. Unfortunately, that is just a dream and simply a fantasy. And it's important to note that these fantasies that you have don't necessarily accurately reflect how they will actually be. After a certain point, money doesn't actually bring you the happiness that you think it will. I'm not saying money can't afford things that can bring you happiness. And I definitely think that you need to have your physiological needs met, for food, water, shelter, safety. But once you're at that threshold where you're able to comfortably survive, a lot of studies say $75,000 is the threshold that everyone needs to be happy, or at least where happiness tends to wane progressively as your income increases. But I don't know if that's really true. Maybe if you're making $75,000 a year in a low cost of living area, like in the suburbs or in the middle of nowhere, but $75,000 is not going to help you in a city like New York or San Francisco. But regardless of that dollar amount that you're chasing, unfortunately, money may not bring you that happiness that you've always wanted. I'm not saying that you can't want having $1 million, because let's be honest, I think a lot of us would like $1 million, including me. Maybe except billionaires, but you get the point. But if you think $1 million or a hot girlfriend or hot boyfriend or a nice house will suddenly rid you of all of your problems in the world, then you are sorely mistaken. I want to share with you guys a psychological trick that we tend to play on ourselves, and it's called affective forecasting. Affective forecasting is the prediction of one's affect or emotional state in the future. As a process that influences preferences, decisions, and behavior, affective forecasting is studied by both psychologists and economists with broad applications. So essentially what affective forecasting means is you try to predict your emotional state in the future when some certain event happens. For example, when you think that that vacation is going to make you so much happier, or when you eat that double cheeseburger, your cravings will be satisfied. See, what you didn't calculate for when you were thinking about that double cheeseburger is how heavy and gross you would feel afterward. Or at that beach vacation, you suddenly get sunburned after the first day, or something like that. The point is, we tend to be inaccurate about how we think we are going to feel in the future. Because the reality is, like, no matter where we are in life, there are always going to be some problems. Just like how Kim Kardashian may have all the money in the world, not all the money, but like a lot of money, yet she still has problems, like losing $30,000 earrings. I mean, it's a nice problem to have, but she still has problems. So don't let your happiness be conditional. Don't think that you'll be happy if something happens or when something happens. You have to make a choice every day to be happy and be happy with who you are and what you've become and how you can make choices. I think it's okay to strive to be better and not be satisfied with where you are at the moment. But if that's the case, then you have to start focusing on the process over the outcome. Sure, you want $1 million, but how are you going to get there? I find that having outcome goals can be really great for motivation, but I argue that the process is equally as important. So what you need to do is to create a process or some sort of system that not only will get you to where you want to be, but it also has to be something that you enjoy so you're not dreading it. This is the main reason why fad diets don't really work, where after you lose the weight, temporarily, you're going to revert back to old habits because you just did not enjoy getting to where you were. So if the feelings of shame and feeling behind in life start creeping in when you've done a lot that day, then you shouldn't really feel bad and recognize that you are on your process and you are in the right place. The next thing to do when you're feeling behind is to actually delete your social media. Now, a lot of you may have already heard this advice, but I really do believe in its effectiveness. Social media tends to be the main culprit for why people feel left behind because we're always reading about people's highlights. We're seeing that they've done so much over the past few years. But what we tend to forget is what we have done in the past few years. If you think about the time since you've graduated to the present where you're seeing a lot of your classmates do all these cool stuff, chances are that you've actually been up to things too. I've graduated high school about 5 years ago. Oh my god. But anyway, I graduated high school a while ago, so it shouldn't be surprising that other people were living their lives while I was also living my own. I also consider myself to be a much different person than I was since I was in high school. So it's just not a fair comparison to think that this person, this old classmate of yours, has done all these things when you're just looking at yourself from like the past few days or the past year thinking, oh, I haven't done anything. And even if you haven't, you're going to focus on your process or your system that'll help you get to where you want to be. The point of deleting social media is to just stop comparing yourself to others. You can't compare your step 1 to someone's step 100 in their journey of 1,000 steps. Gosh, Confucius, really? Everyone is born with different circumstances, and we have to realize that everyone is on their own little journey, and we don't always start at the same place. And so try not to worry too much about where others are, and just take some time to evaluate whether or not you have been getting closer or farther away from your long-term goals. I promise you that if you are making small, consistent little changes throughout your daily life, you will be happy with yourself long-term. So don't worry about other people or what they're doing. Just focus on yourself. So those are my thoughts. If you guys liked this video, please give it a like and subscribe if you want to see more. And also, I would love to hear your thoughts down in the comments. Is it often that you feel behind in life, and what are you doing or not doing to change that? Let me know. See you next time.